All right, so you earned that degree, and then subsequently, in search of greener pastures, we say, you moved to
Yeah.
Thompson. How's
Yes.
life in Thompson? For those who do not know where Thompson is, give us an idea.
It's northern Manitoba, 8 hours away from Winnipeg, depending on how fast you go. So uh, the speed kills, so no speeding. The speed limit is 100, and the road every year there's a almost every year there's an accident on that road, on that highway 66. People don't want to travel there. So in order to get more points in the immigration application, you have to go somewhere further away from the city. So that was what led me there. And due to the supply and demand of job in Winnipeg, so it's just the sacrifice. It's a cool town. It's a big town. Actually, I met one of the my movement to Thompson made me one of the. I met one of the good people and made friends there that we are still close till today. So
Wonderful.
I guess it was a blessing in some kind of way.
Right.
And so if God sends you to the desert, which not I'm saying Thompson is, He will make provision.
Right.
So
So you went to a cold place and
very cold.
able to, meet warm people.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And so then from Thompson, you went further north to the path.
No, but no, the pie is not further.
Okay,
It's,
it's
yeah.
closer
So yeah,
to
it's closer to Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Okay,
Yeah, Thompson is 8 hours to Winnipeg. The pie is 6.5 hours, depending on how you drive
not
too.
that far.
Yeah.
And then you left for the PA. What took you to the PA then?
I got a job with the
With your
government.
love for cold places, so
Yes. And like in Nigeria, I would say condition I make your fish bend.
okay.
So I went there for a job. I actually got a job with the government as a correctional officer. So,
Hmm.
and that was what, yeah, I made my way down there to the park.
As a correction officer.
Yeah.
Okay. How was it as a correction officer in the PA?
Uh,
Was it the job you had always wanted to do?
sometimes I think that was my third time applying.
Okay.
And after I got it, I was happy. I was thanking God. I was celebrating, and but my brother, the government field and my experience there, I wouldn't even send my enemy down there to work.
You wouldn't
So
send your enemy down to
yeah,
or to.
to the bar and to work as corrections officer.
All right, so these are two different things you've just said.
Yeah.
Your experience in the PA as well as your experience as a correction officer, right? So
Yes.
could you take us through, your experience living in the PA and why you made that statement that you wouldn't send your enemy there?
For me right now is like when I came, it was a smaller town from Thompson, and different people, different culture. The technique here is adaptation, even to the weather too. You have to adapt. You never get used to it. So when I got the job, I thought like this is it for life. This is where I'm gonna retire. This is where I'm gonna stay. Maybe build up a family.
Right.
But if I have to give the short, clean answer is the smaller the town, the more racist they are.
Mm,
And I think we've discussed this before. Uh, Canadian racism is much more worse than the States.
really?
Yes. And I've discussed this with people from the States too, like classmates that visited Canada. Because in the States, the people will call you the N-word to your face, so they will show you. But amongst the small town here, I wouldn't say among the places I've traveled, they smile. They smile, but they stab you at the back.
Mm. And that is
Yeah,
the worst form of racism, you say.
exactly. That
So,
exactly.
so now let's get into the nitty-gritty of what
Mm,
actually happened for you to make, because that is quite a very bold and serious statement actually to make, in terms of, because people would always make the comparison to say that our neighbors, the US, that is worse off, right?
mm,
Especially with the presidency of Trump and him returning to power now. Canada is feeling like, uh, how do I even say it? But we always say that, Canada is in relation to the United States, at least a better place, to live. And it's a multicultural mosaic, right?
yeah.
But then you said the experience of diversity here and racism in particular, as you said, is worse off than you would have in the state. What was your experience?
So as you were saying this, a quote came into my head that says, "The devil you know is better than the angel you don't know."
Okay.
So and I've also discussed this with other professors and friends, and funny enough, some of them do like Trump because he doesn't pretend. He is who he is, and you already know what you're expecting.
Right.
So my experience is this: I got into the job in training in April, May, June. We were assigned into our areas of work.
What year was
Uh,
this?
2021.
Okay, so as a correction officer,
Yes,
20.
sir. 2021, yeah. Um, like I said, I thank God for the job. I was happy. And when I got in, what did they call us? They used to call us fish because we were the new recruits.
Okay.
The inmates used to call us fish, so we are the new recruits.
Why fish though?
I don't know why the term, but it's like you're below the ladder, like below sea level,
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
So it's a
So
hierarchy
yeah,
status.
based on hierarchy, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we were in the system, me and my colleague. The former correctional officer had already prepped me with what to expect, but it was beyond what he said. So
What did he say to you?
he pointed out to me about some people, the politics with the system, the gang up, and the form clique, this group. They don't not one person might not have worked with you before, but they hate you for no reason because they've heard something about you from this person, or maybe a person they go fishing with, or they hang out with, or they work with.
And is this regardless of race, or is it that they gang up against, people of racial minority?
Racial minority. It
Okay.
could be. It could be. The funny thing, when I started the work, uh, you could see the race divide.
Okay.
So I kind of find solace with the Indians and the Pakistans at work because we're all immigrants. So that's what unites us.
Stick together.
Yeah, we kind of stick together.
Right.
And any complaint, I will bring it up to them. In fact, there was this officer, the beginning of the beginning of the end of my work there was this officer, like every time I ask him for a favor, like, hey, can you ask after my shift, can one of the officers drop me off? He will say no. He's the only officer, he's the only like manager that says no. All other managers, they always give you that help. But this guy always says no. So one day, um, he came up to me in the morning and said, he pointed to me and the other Pakistani guy, and he said, both of you guys have to wait behind. We are short-staffed. And I walked up to his office. I'm like, sir, I have to go to church in the morning. Like, I have to head to church. I can't wait. So he was nonchalant. I'm like, sir, it's not like I'm just letting you know because I've asked you for favors a couple of times at work and you have refused me. If it was some other manager that is asking me this thing, maybe I could sacrifice for them. But you've never granted me any favor. You've always said no to my requests. In fact, when inmates insult me, you don't punish them. You let them go. Give them the free will. They will call you the N-word. So I said, I can't do that I'll be lying to myself if I stay behind. So he reported me to the superintendent, what I said and what I did. And I told the superintendent, honestly, I couldn't and I would not, because he hasn't done me any favor for me to reciprocate that with him. And I have to be in
So
church.
it wasn't part of your job, it was a favor that he was asking for you
Yeah,
to turn it down or
yeah.
okay.
You have the choice to stay back or leave. And there are other staffs there. Why us? You didn't ask other people. You pick the two immigrants that are working that night shift to wait behind. So sincerely, I said, the Pakistani guy asked me, kind of spoke to me and said, Joseph, don't push it too much. Just stay. So I waited with him. As God will have it, in an hour time, someone came and relieved us of our duty. So that was where it started. So another time, I had called in to work to say I'm booking a time off because I'm going for Easter. I mean Lent, Ash Wednesday, which, as you know, is a day of obligation. So I needed to go to church. So I called in. I went to this officer in there. I said, if you can switch my shift from a night shift to a day shift so that I can attend church, I would appreciate that. Then he was like, oh no, we can't do that, blah, blah, blah. So I left. I said, okay, since you can't do it, I'm going to book a day off. Please, can you find someone to cover my shift because I have to be in church for Ash Wednesday. So when I was at my unit, less than an hour later, 30 minutes later, they were like, oh, Joe, you know that offer you made, you asked about switching shifts. I think I can do it. We can put it now. I said, sir, I'm sorry, it's too late. I offered it to you, you refused. So now I've made plans and I've booked off. Can you, because I'm entitled to that day off. There's a term they use that you're entitled to three times in a year. I said I'm entitled to it, so book me off. They were like, oh, the truth is that I'm kind of finding it hard for someone to work the day shift. I can't find anyone. Sir, is your problem? I offered to work that shift. You said no. To swim, you said no. Now you don't want. Now you came back. So I've already booked me off. So I was in church at 7 o'clock that evening. I think it was the following day, yeah. 7 o'clock, I was in church and I got a phone from my workplace. And they were like, I'm like, hey, who is this? He said, it's me, Dave. I'm like, what's up? He's like, are you still coming to work? I'm like, no, I've booked off. I told you, I'm not coming. He said, oh, I thought you would just go to church for 1 hour or two, then you'll come to work. I'm like, no, sir. I'm going. I booked the shift off. I'm not coming. The following day, when I came to work, I saw that I was booked leave without absence. I've forgotten the term here now that he used. AWOL. He booked me AWOL. Yeah, absence without leave. So I saw it on our signing sheet. I'm like, so I went to him. I'm like, sir, what is your problem, man? Like, what is going on here? First of all, I asked for a switch. You refused. I booked a time off. Then you were asking me for a switch. I said, no, keep my time off. Now you're booking me AWOL. So him and his gangs, they all started. And that was where people started picking up on me and I started getting into issue. In fact, I got my second case after that was a lady. She and her husband, they took it as a job to frustrate me every time I'm at shift. So one day I was working, it was during COVID.
Oh, sorry, you said she and her husband. The husband was working there.
Oh, was a correction officer too.
Okay.
They took it as a job to frustrate me. So one day I was working, it was during COVID, and in the unit, they've put a notice that only 2 people are supposed to be in the office at a particular time. So I was the rec officer, recreation officer. So I came into the unit and I told them that, hey, as I was walking into the office, there was like 5 people already in the office. The woman turned and looked at me and said, "You're not supposed to be here." I was shocked. I was like, "Why?" She said, "Look at the sign." I said, "Look at it's 2 people. There's already 5 people here." And immediately I walked in. All of a sudden, you know how to count. So I took the pen and the paper I went in for, and I called the inmates out for their recreation. So after they came out for their recreation, on my returning them back to the unit, I was supposed to go into the office and drop some names of like people that were misbehaving during recreation. As the lady saw me coming, she locked the door. I knocked on the door. I'm like, "Can you open the door? Like, what is your problem, ma'am?" She said, "I'm not allowed to be in the unit, in the office." So I said, "I'm just here to drop the names and leave. How come like you're doing this?" So I dropped the pen and the names, and I left. The next thing, I received an email from the manager of the shift superintendent that this lady has come and reported me, blah, blah, blah. So I replied her, I even have evidences that respect is reciprocal, that this is what happened. And this woman and her husband has been on my neck. They have decided to make my life a living hell in this work. I don't know for what reason. So an investigation issued
So
from that.
let us be clear. You've already mentioned that you and the other minorities were sticking together, Pakistanis, Indians. How about this woman? Where does she belong in that?
She's a white lady. I would call her a white lady.
Okay, just wanted to.
Yeah, she and her husband, they are white. I will call them white.
Okay.
Yeah, they are not natives in this. They are not natives in this sense, or indigenous.
Okay.
So, in fact, this thing has been going back and forth. One day it will be her husband, another week it will be her, another time it will be her husband, and an investigation issued from that. So they went and rewatched the videos and saw that my narration was true. What I said was the right thing. So they suspended some people that were already in the office because the limit then was 2 people in the office. So they suspended some people. So when I heard about it, they claimed that I was the one that went and made the report. But God in heaven knows I never made the report. I even swear with my late dad's name, I never made a report. So when I heard it, I went to one of the guys and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I heard what happened to you guys." But just to clarify, I went to him and I said, "Hey, I never made a report. It wasn't me." They called me in for the investigation and they heard my side of the story. I even told them that you were the only guy that came to ask me what happened, what has transpired. A week later, I got another email about an investigation. So the guy I went to apologize to about his suspension went and reported me that I had choked him at the workplace to the point of death, that he couldn't breathe.
That you were involved in an altercation with him and you choked him?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, he said I just came into the control room because there's a control room where you can see the camera everywhere in the jail. That I choked him to the point of death. I'm like, was there a fight? They were like, no, he just said he just walked into the office and choked him. I'm laughing now because I'm not schizophrenic. I'm not mentally unstable. I don't know where I would have what would have resulted with me choking him. He even mentioned that when we were playing badminton, that I was swearing at him. So I asked whether if there was anybody there during the choking. They said no, that it was just me and him.
And there were cameras though, couldn't they?
There were cameras, exactly. Yeah. So he said, even when the investigator called me, I was seek her permission. I was like, "Can I swear?" She was like, "Yeah, go ahead if you want to swear." I'm like, WTF? Like, what are you saying? What the F? she was like, I'm like, I can't fathom like where this accusation is coming from. So she said there was no other person, it was just me and him. So it is his word against mine now. I said, okay, what about the badminton? That there were other people there. That guy just only came to play badminton with us that day. That day. That was the first time he came to play badminton with us. And after the badminton, he was even apologizing to me in front of the group that he was the one that gave my comb, that reported my comb to another officer, which I'm going to address another issue about the comb, because they also had issue about my comb.
Even the comb was implicated. Okay. All right. So there was that, so that you choke him, and how was that addressed?
So after the investigation, I asked the people if that were the badminton with us, and they said no, Joe, you didn't swear at him. I said, well, they might be calling you guys for investigation, so that you guys would know. You know, I spoke to the guys. They said no, Joseph, you never swore at this guy. So I told the investigator that if in the case that I put my hand on him, maybe I might have done that, because that's the way we communicate, you know. When I communicate with the Indians or the Pakistanis, we touch each other when we talk. We have that, which to them, it feels like invading their space. So I said, I don't do it with this guy because I know him. He's not that close to me that we'll be talking that close. Anyways, the investigation took more than 2 months. It took all summer. In September, they sent me a notification that they've suspended me for 5 days for putting my hand on an officer. So it went from choking to putting my hand on an officer, and that I have embarrassed the correctional institution and every other thing. I can't fight the system.
Putting your hand as a friendly gesture or as a
you have to ask them, because I don't know.
Harassment. I mean, when they suspended you, what did they say? Just put in your hand?
Yeah, that was. I can send. I will find.
So because one can put a hand as
yes.
A form of friendly gesture. One can put a hand as a form of harassment. So did they say anything there in that?
No, no. They just what they put for putting your hand on an officer. And when the investigator called me, because there was a video Zoom call, they had demonstrated whether if I put my hand like this on him or like this on him. I'm like, no, I didn't. So how did it go from choking to putting my hand? So I got a 5-day suspension.
They went with his words then.
They went, I guess.
Yeah.
And when I asked for the case they filed for the other investigation about the people they questioned about the badminton, they refused to give it to me.
Okay, so they actually interviewed them.
Yes.
As witnesses.
As witness to the badminton case of him saying I swore at him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell you what they said.
They didn't. They didn't.
So one thing after the other.
But those people confided in me and said, this is what they asked them in the investigation.
Okay.
So that was after my suspension, 5 days. I came back to work. The following day I came back to tell you how funny this thing is. I went to see a Nigerian on the other unit. And he was like,
a correction officer.
Which was a correction officer. He was like, oh, Joe, you are back. Guess who was at the office with him? That woman. So as a joke, I told him, hey, don't you miss me? We both laughed.
You told who? The Nigerian guy?
The Nigerian guy. We both laughed. And we walked away to my unit. So he was asking me about the suspension and how things were with me. We all communicated this. So a few days later, we got another investigation. This woman has gone to report us that we were making fun of her. I swear. She went and reported us that we were making fun of her. It baffled me because I was actually in Nigeria when I got the call and the email.
You had traveled to Nigeria?
I had traveled.
So there was no respite for you, whether in Canada or in Nigeria?
man. So, like I said, these people are a clique. Once they have decided, they have decided. They can fast track your expulsion from the.
Now you have those incidents,
Hmm.
one after the other, one after the other. Was it why eventually you felt, okay, you've had it, you're gonna quit and leave this
Hmm.
place? Or was it something that actually happened?
So during that process, there were more incidents that happened where, like, I was investigated because of a comb. I forgot my comb in the unit, like in the office where inmates don't have access to.
You didn't have the dreadlocks then.
No, I didn't have the dreadlocks. In fact, that was my motivation for dreadlocks. I said I'm going to dread my hair so that I don't need a comb anymore. And there was another investigation of harassment. This guy, he was actually harassing me. He swore at me in front of inmates. And then then I got involved in a legal case. So during my involvement in that legal case, because of all these things that have been happening, I was scared to go tell my employee that this is what is happening. Because I'm like, these people are already getting rid of me. So let me see whether the case is gonna move ahead.
So the legal case was outside of the
Work.
workplace.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was outside of work. So I said, let me wait and see if it's gonna die off. Because I was called in. In fact, the cops came to my house. They said they needed a DNA sample from me. So I inquired, and they said if the DNA matches with what they're accusing me of, then maybe the case will go to trial. If not, it's just going to die off. There's no need. So they came to my home. They took my DNA. I was waiting for the results. A month or two. So while I was waiting for the results, my work found out about the case, and they invited me for another investigation, which led to my termination.
Okay. So on what basis did they terminate you?
They said I wasn't forthcoming, that I wasn't honest, that when they were asking me questions, I was hiding. And my only basis was that this is a legal case. I can't tell you what is going on because the case is not in trial yet.
Right.
And as God would have it, I am lucky that I did it. Because during the trial, my work came with this accuser during the trial.
They came with the accuser?
Yes, my work, like the park correction, which is, I would say, the government of Manitoba, and my accuser, my work did an audit of my account system, brought my journals and everything I've written in my journal as evidence against me during my trial.
Now, this is getting a little bit more complex.
Yes.
Okay, so the case itself is outside of,
It's outside of work. Yes.
outside of work. How did they get involved? How did they find out?
Yeah, it's small town. That's my surmise. It's small town. Small town. Everyone is related to everyone. Everyone is in everyone's business. So that was how they became involved, and they were so interested in the case because during the investigation they were asking me personal questions, and I'm like, this is outside work situation. I'm handling it, and my lawyer is handling it, but they weren't satisfied. Even there was a time I did an investigation, and after the investigation, they came a second time. They weren't satisfied with my first answer, so they came a second time. So I asked the lead investigator. I said, all these questions this person is asking me now, they have asked me before. Is it that you guys didn't receive the first report or my first statement? The investigator denied that there was never a first investigation, that she wasn't aware of it. So I said, no, the lady from HR was part of that first investigation. So why are you guys doing it all over again, asking me the same question I've given you answers to? Later, I found out that they weren't satisfied with my first answer. Maybe I defended myself so much that they needed me. during the second one to have a like a loophole where they can nail me from.